Hi guys, so this is the last one that I'll do from 1C. So this is question 3. They give you this graphed parabola and it asks you to find the equation of the parabola, and they give you those 3 points. So they give you this x-intercept at -1, one is at +3, and then this is another point which is a y-intercept as well. So I have our given information written here. Let me just adjust. So I just wrote down the information again. If they give us the x-intercepts, the most appropriate form that we should write it in is in factored form. If they gave us the vertex, then we would put it in vertex form. And standard form, we don't really have a use for it yet until they tell us the y-intercept and how the parabola opens. So let's substitute these values in factored form. So in factored form, again, the general form is y is equal to this a that tells us whether the parabola opens up or down, if it's going to be vertically stretched or compressed. This is x minus r, and this is x minus s. And these are just any two values that we would have here for the x-intercepts. So we would substitute these values. This one would be r, and this one would be your s value. And then we would substitute these values in because we would need an additional point. This would be x and y. So let me do it in pieces for you. So if I substitute the x-intercept, if it reads as -1 in here, I know when I put it back in here, it should read as the opposite. So I have y is equal to a, and then I have x plus 1, and this one would be x minus 3. So again, when I read this, remember when you take it out, if this is reading as negative, it reads as positive up here. If this reads as positive, when I take it out of the bracket, it reads as negative over there. So this is our substitution of just the x-intercepts. If we're trying to find an equation, the last thing that we actually need is the value of a. So this will tell us whether our parabola opens up or down. And this is where we're going to use this additional point. This is just the y-intercept, but it could have been any point that falls on the parabola. So anytime that I see x in my expression, I'm going to substitute 0 in here and here. And anywhere that I see y, I'm going to substitute 5 instead. So let's do that substitution. I have 5. This one is going to read as 0 plus 1. This one's going to read as 0 minus 3. And then I'll change this color back to purple so I know that I'm solving here for the a value. And then the parabola that we were looking at was upside down, so I know this a value is supposed to be negative. So let's simplify what we have. This is 5 is equal to a. In brackets, this is 0 plus 1. This is just 1. This is 0 minus 3, so this is going to be equal to -3. When I multiply these values here, this is going to be -3 times 1. This is -3a is equal to 5. And then if I isolate for a here, I'm going to divide both sides by -3. And then our a value becomes this -5 over 3. And this one, we can just reduce it into a fraction. It is a reduced fraction. We can leave it as a decimal as well. So we'll get both of those answers, and I'll show you on Desmos. So this negative is important because I know it opens down. And when I plot it on Desmos, when I write the equation, y is equal to -5 over 3, it should still have those x-intercepts at x plus 1, x minus 3. So it should still pass through +3. It should still pass through -1, and then that y-intercept at -5. So let's write down our equation to confirm on Desmos that that's actually what we're going to get. So let me bring up my screen. So this is the parabola that we're aiming or hoping to get. So let's try it again on Desmos. So let me type in the equation that we have. This was y is equal to negative 5 divided by 3. So you get here this negative 5 over 3. In brackets, we were writing it in vertex form. So this is x plus 1. And then in brackets, we would get the other x-intercept, x minus 3. And when I take a look, these are all of the points that we had previously. So one x-intercept at negative 3, one x-intercept at negative 1, and we see here that we have this y-intercept at 5. So I'm happy because when I look at this and I go back to the original question, I can see that those are all of the points that were given to us. So I know that my equation of y is equal to negative 5 over 3, x plus 1, x minus 3 is correct.